Hey everyone, Miss B. Hanley here, and today we're talking about the blended learning classroom. I, like many other teachers around the country, are teaching students in person and online in what is known as a blended learning classroom. So I wanted to take a moment to show you what I do in a blended classroom, the ideal situation of what a blended classroom could look like, as well as the reality of what a blended classroom actually looks like. So first I want to show you the different pieces of technology and equipment that I use in my classroom to help me make the blended learning environment a little bit easier to teach in and learn in.
So my laptop acts as an initial monitor, and then I use a second monitor to help manage the chat from the Zoom call as well as the presentations that I'm giving to students. I also utilize an additional webcam so that students in the class can be seen by students in the Zoom call. And last but not least, it is all connected through a VGA cable system.
The VGA cord from your computer goes in one way, and then two VGA cables come out the other way. One to your projector and the other one to your second monitor.
And this is what the final product will look like. As you can see, I am mirroring my second monitor for the class, but I am also able to keep track of the students on the Zoom call. Next up is the Lightspeed microphone with the male-to-male audio cable. You just connect your audio cable to the microphone's auxiliary port, and then the other end to the computer's auxiliary port.
Teachers might also want to utilize a laptop cart for their students in the face-to-face classroom to access online assignments, discussions, and other material. All students, regardless of whether they are face-to-face or online, are using the learning management platform. So that means that all of their assignments, discussions, quizzes, everything they do in the class is uploaded to the learning management system for me to grade. But whether you're using Google Classroom, Schoology, or another type of learning management system, you should still be able to incorporate both the eSchool students and your face-to-face students in class discussions, in quizzes, and in presentations or guest speakers.
All of that is going to require you to use one of the online live meeting platforms like Zoom, Microsoft Teams, or Google Meet. Each of these platforms can be used effectively in the blended learning classroom, but they all have their pros and cons and a learning curve that the teacher will have to know.
Something you should not be afraid to do in the blended classroom is to let students do work on their own, especially if you've given instruction, had a presentation, or had some sort of discussion.
Aside from the normal content, the teacher is also responsible of teaching their students about how to use the learning management platform that's used in the class.
One of the biggest struggles with the blended classroom environment is going to be making sure you have the right equipment and the technology is working properly. If the technology does not work properly, then you're going to struggle. Technology is a huge part of the blended classroom, and it's honestly so impossibly hard to remove it from that. So if you're not somebody who is savvy with technology, my recommendation would be to figure out ways that you can learn more about technology, because there's absolutely no way that I could have done this without technology at all. Bringing students onto a Zoom call, projecting my screen, using the different software that I've had to use, and the different equipment just to be able to bring these students and engage them in the learning process in the classroom. Technology is what makes it possible.
But technology isn't foolproof, and it can fail, especially when you need it the most.
The monitor is giving me the input not found sign to indicate that my VGA cable is damaged. Here you see a bunch of different prongs. And if any of those prongs go missing, then your screen is going to look messed up.
Also, due to the fact that I don't have a wireless projector, I'm left with a mess of cables that clog up my workspace and give me a lot of anxiety. So this has led me to purchase an additional power strip, an extended USB port, and some cable holders that keep my workspace a little bit neater and a little bit easier to work with. Going back to the laptop cart, you may have seen these computers updating. It is a part of my responsibility to make sure that the computers are updated for the students to use. If the laptops don't work, they can use their phones, but
some learning management systems just don't work well on the phone, and sometimes students don't even know how to use certain programs like Microsoft Word or Microsoft PowerPoint, Google, and understanding the online world is a huge struggle for some of my students, and having a computer that they can work on, that they can practice with, is a big benefit for that. Of course, there are going to be additional struggles outside of technology. Students not paying attention, students not listening, students coming in late, students leaving and returning is all a part of our typical classroom life, but they are going to be blown up a little bit because of the blended learning atmosphere.
And in 2020, we also have to take into account COVID-19 requirements, which require all students to wear masks, stay 6 feet apart, and not share materials.
If I'm trying to give instructions to all of my students, not just the ones sitting in front of me, but also the ones on a Zoom call, I have to make sure I'm standing as close to my computer as possible so that the online students can hear me, but also speaking loud enough so that everybody in the class can hear me as well.
This is where the microphone and sound setup can be a lot of help.
The other thing that I have to take into account in the classroom is that students have to stay social distance. This is becoming more and more difficult as more and more students are coming back into the face-to-face classroom. I can't put students into groups where they are close together and talking with one another. So most of our class discussions are whole group discussions.
Despite the fact that whole class discussions can be a little hectic, they don't even look like typical class discussions anymore because of social distancing guidelines.
In my larger classes, it can be a lot more difficult, especially when I have hands raised in the classroom and students' hands raised in the Zoom call.
Even though they can be difficult, class discussions are my preferred way to engage my online and face-to-face students, in addition to virtual guest speakers that can join a Zoom call, present to a face-to-face and online group of students simultaneously.
So my final thoughts of the blended learning classroom is that it is extremely hard. Blended learning is a huge challenge for teachers, and we do need more support for teachers in the classroom. Honestly, if I didn't have the knowledge of the technology or the equipment, I probably wouldn't be doing a blended classroom or be able to experiment with some of these techniques. However, the blended learning environment, I think, can be a real benefit to our students, especially students who aren't able to make it to school every day or have to be out for a certain length of time, whether it's due to family issues or sickness or some other unexplained life event that keeps them away from the physical classroom. Learning can still happen if you are online at home, and it can still be engaging and fun. And I think that the blended learning classroom is a way to do that. It's a way to bring in our students who are online, who are not comfortable coming into our classrooms, to bring them into our classrooms in a virtual way and have them experience the classroom environment even when they're at home. Bringing all of this together in my classroom and creating this video are in large part thanks to the donors that contributed to my flipped blended classroom project on Donors Choose. It was a huge success having students be able to access technology, engage in different video content and materials, and experience an online environment that is engaging.
So huge shout out to all those donors. Thank you so much. And if you are interested in supporting me and my future projects, please check the links down in the description for more information.
So that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. If you have a blended learning classroom experience or suggestion, please leave it down in the comments. I would love to see how other teachers are dealing with the blended learning classroom, thinking of new ways to engage their students and how it's all going. So please let me know in the comments. Additionally, if you want to support this channel and me and my classroom, please check the links down in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day and I will see you in class. Bye.